Yeah.
I risk talking,
Yeah.
but my, that office, when I did one speed up.
Same city.
I just don't like.
Where's somebody who's back?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Any other than the refreshments in our room?
This way, you're.
Maybe
give him a book, Mike.
I'll get your books. I'll get it.
Third grade.
We still trying to get people.
We put a line there. Everybody's on the I'm going to get the website. College. Oh, Craig. Yeah, good. Take a picture of it.
Thank you, Nathan.
You're welcome.
They take time. Everybody like to call this meeting to order. First, I'd like to mention everybody that's on the phone or online. There's a request from our audio technician for everyone to mute your cell phones, and when you do want to speak up loudly so everybody can hear it. The audio technician will appreciate that. Thank you. Mr. Cameron, please.
Yes, sir. Chairman Greenlaw. Commissioner Lambert. Commissioner Lambert. Commissioner Post.
Here.
Commissioner East. Here. Commissioner Landers. Here. Commissioner Hunter. Commissioner Anthony. Here. We got plenty.
Seems to be an issue with audio. For anybody that's on the phone, for whatever reason, we can't hear any of you.
This is. I think we have some people. Commissioner Lambert, you hear me? I want to bring something up about this audio, because I talked to audio. We need to get audio that works. We haven't had audio that works since I've been here, and I've been here 8 years. It's never worked. And they don't ever spend any money on the race commission. We need some money spent so that you don't have the problems you have every time, and that everybody can hear us. Because we talk about things people need to hear. So he's gonna write a letter, a request, and he's gonna write a request, and you've been elected. Well, you weren't in here when you elected. You didn't do that. You've been elected to go take it. What's the plan for? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So is everybody okay with that? I mean, I think we need it. It's terrible, awful, bad. Okay, thank you.
Minutes, so we got two sets of minutes to approve, June 27th, 2024, and August 22nd, 2024. If anybody has any comments or corrections to those minutes.
Move approval of those minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Anthony.
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioners, all in favor of approval of the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Record show that's unanimous. Campbell, up on rulings.
Yes, sir. I think the steward is on the phone. Supposed to be. Jim?
Hello, it's Tim Lodges here. Good morning,
How you
Commissioner.
doing, bud?
Doing well, thank you. We had two rulings since I last spoke with you. One of them ruling 35 was a ruling revoking the license of Nevada Litson. He was a trainer that was caught with syringes on race day in the stall with the horse, actually injecting the horse. And HISA issued an order taking away his license for 5 years. He admitted to the act, and he had a owner/trainer's license at Oaklawn, and we chose to revoke that license given the HISA ruling. And then we had another ruling for trainer Carl Broberg, who just asked that his trainer's license be rescinded because he no longer wished to train horses. He just wants to own them. And he has engaged the employment of a trainer named Abel Ramirez Rodriguez to train his horses for him now.
Thank you.
And that was it.
Anybody have
You're
any
welcome.
questions for?
Yeah, so thank you, Jim, appreciate it.
Yes,
anybody
sir.
have any questions for Jim?
I do, Jim. Steve Landers, what is Broberg wanting to do now?
His was just rescinding his trainer's license. His owner's license will remain in good standing.
He's wanting to rescind his trainer's license because he's retiring from training. He's just gonna retain his owner license.
What about Rodriguez? Do we know anything about Rodriguez?
I don't know him.
Is there anybody that can? He's gonna put him in as a trainer.
That's who Jim said he understands. That's who Broberg is. I don't know him.
I don't know him personally either, but I see that he's been racing a lot of horses for Mr. Broberg up at Remington Park.
Thank you, Jim, Commissioner Lanning. And,
Thank you, Jim.
Any other comments on the Oaklawn rulings? If not, entertain a motion for approval. Motion by Commissioner East,
Second.
second by Commissioner Landers. All in favor of the Oaklawn rulings, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, let's move on to some new business, and Byron, I think you lead us through this.
We have a public hearing today, on 3 proposed rule changes. And, one thing I just want to point out to everybody, there's no obligation for the commission to pass or deny a rule. You need to rely on your own judgment. Y'all are appointed to this commission because you know the racing business, and you have good business judgments, so you follow your own judgment. So it's not a rubber stamp process, just because these things are proposed. We have three rules: horse racing rule 2148, horse racing rule 2444, and proposal to repeal all the greyhound rules. And we'll go over those each one. Since this is a public hearing, is anybody here wants to speak for or against any of these rules, 2148, 2444, or the repeal of the greyhound rules? Let's see if there's anybody in the public. If you want to speak first.
I can, however you want to.
You can speak after that. Since you're already up here,
Yes, sir.
identify yourself, please.
My name's Skip Eagle. I'm the attorney for Oaklawn, and we have 2 proposed rule changes that have been presented. The horseman, the HPPA, supports these. Mr. Walmsley confirmed that to me yesterday. The first rule change is Rule 2148, which has a rule prohibition of a person racing in their real name if they also race under a stable name. And so we had a situation arise where, say, Skip Eagle owns 100% of a horse, but I also own a stable name where Steve Landers and Skip Eagle operate under the Landers and Eagle stable name. Well, I wasn't able to enter my horse where we were also entering the stable name in a race. So that created a issue, and people thought we should address that. So working with Jim, the chief state steward, we came up with a proposed revision where that would be allowed, but you would have to disclose the common ownership where there's a more than 5%, 5% or more common ownership. That would have to be disclosed in the racing program to the public, so they would know that there's overlapping ownership. We came up, use that 5% threshold because you have these large partnerships, and y'all do not require someone in one of the large partnerships if they own less than 5% to even be licensed. And so that was the way we came up with this rule. So it would basically allow you to race in your individual name into the stable name, but you would have to disclose to the public the common ownership.
Okay, have you received any calls about 2148?
No, sir.
No correspondence or calls on?
No, sir.
Assuming you don't speak one way or another on that. Anybody else here who wants to comment on Rule 2148? Does everybody understand Rule 2148? Going from no person to a person may register. So it's a flat prohibition now. As Skip said, we're allowing people to register more than one stable name or have their name on more than one operation.
All right, how you want to go ahead and vote on that rule
Yeah.
now?
I think so.
Anybody else have any comments about Rule 2148? Not entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Landers,
I'm saying.
second by Commissioner Anthony. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So it's unanimous. Okay, by Rule 2444.
Rule 244 is the claiming rule, and I was talking to Skip for the meeting, said that there's probably been 15 changes to the claiming rule the last 30 years.
It's still a work in progress.
It's a very difficult thing. There are a lot of people involved in claiming, and they all have a definite opinion. Skip, you want to go ahead?
Yes, sir.
And talk about Rule 2140 or 2444?
Yes, this rule change just involves the claiming preference. And several years ago, y'all adopted a rule with the idea being that if someone loses a horse in a claim, they'd have a first opportunity to claim one back by getting a claiming preference, so that if two people claim in the next day, someone who has the claiming preference would be awarded the claim in the event that there were just two people to put in a claim. So if you have a claiming preference, you would be awarded the claim if the other person didn't have a claiming preference. If multiple people with claiming preferences put a claim in, then they are the only ones that participate in the idea being that if you lost a horse, it would give you an opportunity to claim a horse back and have a preference in that circumstance. Some people came to us and said that they wanted to put some guardrails on that, working with the HPPA. We have proposed a couple of things, and that would be basically if you're dropping your horse way down from a allowance race or more than 25% from the previous race, you wouldn't be awarded a claiming preference if you lost your horse in that claim. So if you dropped a horse way down and it got claimed, you wouldn't be awarded a claiming preference. The other change is.
No, that's in the blue and
Yes, sir.
Section A, you all have in front of you. So,
Then there's also a separate rule that you have that allows the stewards to issue a claiming authorization. That is for someone who really is not in racing, doesn't own a horse, and that gives them the authorization to put in a claim to get a first horse. And we were proposing to change the rule to say that if that type of person puts in two claims and they don't win a claim, then they're awarded a claiming preference. And so, that could be, so that was trying to help someone who's not in the game, who loses out on a couple of attempts to claim, that they're awarded a claiming preference. So those were the two proposed rule changes. I know some people don't like the claiming preference. I think it has a good intentions. Some people think that people are, having multiple ownerships and able to get more claiming preferences. And so there's debates among horsemen as to whether claiming preferences is a good thing or not. But I think it has a good intention, and we're trying to just put some more guardrails on it this year. And there could be further tweaks to it y'all want us to make or not make, or how to even do this, or whatever y'all want us to do. It's obviously with what we can do.
Anyone here for or against rule 2444, which people are talking about? We put out a public notice and published in the newspaper. I want to make sure everybody gets an opportunity.
Steve Landers, Skip, I've never been a fan of this preference. Well, let's go back to the old way where you just put them in a pill box, everybody shakes, and somebody, the winner gets it, you know what I mean? This preference deal, I've dropped on 10 horses over Churchill and Kingman. I've dropped on 10 horses. I ain't got a horse. Maybe I should tell them because I'm unlucky, but the accuracy got 5 of them, you know what I mean? And not that he's doing anything crazy. He got 5 of them because he's got all these horses and preferences and, all this stuff. So it just confuses the other owners, I think, that are trying to drop a horse. I mean, drop on a horse. What was wrong with the pill box? Just when you got 10 in there, 5 in there, 8 in there, one of them go get it, you know what I mean? And you can claim all day long and drop all day long, and if you want to. So I mean, the preference deal gets confusing. I think they figured out ways, some of them, to enhance it, and that gets you little guys. That gets you little guys where they can't compete, and I know about that, but in the auto business, we had the auto business kind of under control, for a long time and around the country, and we were buying the little guys out because that's where they couldn't compete with what we were doing. It's just, I just don't think it's right. I think really we ought to go back to a pill box, get we got it so complicated, convoluted, just messed up that these sharps, as I call them, they figure out ways around it.
All valid comments, but I understand totally. That's,
they figure out ways around it, and it's not really, I don't like it, but that's just me. So I just want to tell you.
And it has a good intention. Whether people are taking advantage of it, I think some people are. And so it's obviously up to you if you want us to continue with it, suspend it for a season, see how it works. We're open to whatever you want to do. Not change it. Not have it for a racing season, see how that goes. Those are all.
I'd like to take it back to, I don't know what y'all think. I'd like to take it back to everybody get in the pill box, everybody drop and draw, for a year, to see how it does. See if everybody likes it or don't like it, we can go back to it. We can go back to the preference, and if it's not, doesn't make everybody happy.
I get a question. The guardrails you discussed, brought up, would that address any of Steve's concerns?
I don't think so. I mean, we've talked about a rule change that would give the stewards authority to deny claiming preference if someone was abusing the rule. But that we haven't put that proposal, but that could be something to consider in the future for sure. If you keep the rule. So those are things to consider. Another thing, somebody that is not in the game and has no horse, and maybe just that's the only time there's a claiming preference at all. Those are all valid decisions. I don't know what's right or wrong, and it's a rule that has a good intention, but I acknowledge that some people would probably take it.
Yeah, I would too.
This has gotten to be a problem because the claiming price and the purse prices have gotten completely out of whack at places like Oklahoma and Churchill and Kingman. Whereas at Santa Anita in Florida, it still makes some sense. But when you can claim a horse and then win your next race and double your money, That's why you get 20-person shakes. So the claiming price and the purse prices are out of whack.
Yeah.
You're saying the HBPA,
The HPP and Oaklawn support the rule change and, but obviously we acknowledge that there are some folks are probably taking advantage of it. It is whatever y'all want to do is gonna be fine with us.
Okay, this whole issue's been a revolving door since we started this a few years ago. I think for the purposes of this meeting, since rules have already been published, the proposed rule change has already been published. If I'm wrong, but we're limited at this moment, either approving or not approving the rule change as presented.
That is correct. The only rule change you can make is the ones that proposed.
That's
If you
right.
want to make a rule change, you can re-advertise, like if the commission decides they want to go back to the old way, the old shake way. Then we propose a rule, we would publish it, and the commission have a separate meeting on that. But today, the only thing you can do is say yes or no to the proposed rule change on 2445.
I think this rule needs a whole lot more discussion before next year. So,
Yeah, that would be the goal, is that if the commission would have a discussion and then we come up with some kind of consensus rule, it would be published according to state law, and then you would pass or vote down that rule at a public meeting.
does this need to be done today or for the?
The changes would be, because we have to go to
Right.
the legislative review committee next month, by the 15th of next month, but,
So we could vote not to accept.
and then we would just have the existing rule, for next racing season, unless y'all wanted to do something to suspend the rule and do an emergency rule.
Yeah.
So they'd say that we're not going to have that, but you would have to do that at, if you wanted to go through the process, we would have to, as Byron says, you would have to publish that we're going to take this whole rule, out of the rule book.
I think it's important, and I think we have to republish it. Right, you know what I mean? I mean, if we have to repost it,
Right.
yeah, I think we're okay with it, because
It's whatever y'all
it's important.
want to do. I know that it's creating controversy and, so,
And you got 10 when you got 10 in the bill box,
right.
there's no controversy. That guy's got it, that guy got it, you know, so.
Yeah, this certainly needs a lot more discussion, but, I think the proposed rule change is an improvement. Myself,
I agree with that.
I do not,
I agree.
I do not disagree at all with the comments that Mr. Landers has had to say. I'm not ever really been a big fan of the preference rule, but for now, I do think the proposed rule change is an improvement. So leave it up to this commission to decide what we want to do.
I would make a motion that we approve the proposed rule.
Motion by Commissioner Anthony,
I'll say that.
seconded by Commissioner East. All in favor of the rule change, all say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
I would like to, say that something of this nature, I would give a lot of weight to what the HBPA, which is the organization of all the owners and trainers, together. And have you proposed, I mean, have you been involved with those?
No.
I mean, I think that's where you need.
You know,
Yes.
what I'm saying is, maybe they're not having the same issues that we're having, okay? Or that Oakland has. Is that, not we're having, but Oakland having, you know, I think we probably need to offline, or we're in a private meeting, all of us talk about it. And kind of, and then before we make a final.
Yeah, I don't have, I don't have a strong feeling either way.
Yes.
But I do put a lot of weight on the organization that is composed of the people who are most affected by the deal.
I think what we need, we can't have a private meeting.
It's not private, I'm not talking about private. I think what I'm talking about, a meeting where we can go over the facts together without.
I think what we need to do is at Oakland, we have a meeting at Oakland, we need to bring in the horsemen.
Yes,
everybody-
Yeah,
everybody
that's right,
can-
that's right.
I think that's a good.
And one of our regular meetings.
And let them weigh in
And bring
and
Oklahoma.
we can do whatever y'all, if we need to publish a new rule and get rid of it, we can do that. If we need to tweak it and if we can come up with some improvements that people want us to do, we can do that too. So that's a good idea.
If I understand what's happened, we had a motion that was approved to make the rule change that will be effective this year. And I think what we need to do is during the race season, to put it on the agenda for discussion and having the horsemen, having the trainers, the owners, and everybody get all their opinions and decide whether you want to change the rule again for the next racing meeting.
So you're saying we'd go with we continue it on for this next meeting?
Yeah, by passing the motion today, you've changed the rule for the next race.
Right.
If it's approved by the legislature, legislative review. But what I'm saying is, next, during this coming racing season, we meet at Oaklawn, need to have everybody in and get their opinion, and then get some drafting done on what you think the rule should really say after you've heard from everybody. And then we publish that, and it would be for the next racing meeting.
Yeah, I think that's excellent suggestion.
I think that's good.
Okay. Byron, you want to talk about the repeal of the greyhound rules?
Yeah, we had,
Thank you, Skip.
Thanks, Skip.
Don't go far.
the greyhound rules, there's been no greyhound races since 2022, which should be, 2 full years. And so as far as I know, there's no plans to have, the greyhound racing in the future. And we got we got a letter from the legislative subcommittee saying that the Arkansas statute, which I brought with me, 23-111-203 talks about, requires us to promulgate rules that say that certain things about checking fingerprints. We checked everybody's fingerprints and sent them off to the FBI and state police. We've been doing that for several years. And they were saying that they were worried that we might not be able to change or do what is greyhound rules when you got a statute like that in place. We don't have any racing going on. So I think the statute assumes that there's racing, and we complied with the statute when we had racing. Now that there's not any racing, I was proposing that we repeal all the rules, and then if racing comes back, then modernize the rules at that time or make any changes. So the reason the legislature is going through a process where they're going to codify all the rules, and that would take a month's worth of work by somebody over there. It seems like a waste of time to me that you would be spending a month's time codifying the rules that aren't even being used. And so that's the reason for the proposal to repeal all then if dog racing starts back, then you would adopt new rules at the same time. Now, the statute gives the commission the power to grant franchises, and Southland has a franchise, and they're the only ones who would apply for in the future, I would think. And so, I don't even know if the track, we were talking about that, of course, the track's still in existence fully.
It's not operational.
But I mean, it's even there.
I think it's there for the moment.
Yeah. I couldn't remember that.
Just not in the long.
Yeah, I was thinking parts of it had been taken over.
The dog sharing, the answer.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I just think if I was making a motion that we repeal from the reasons stated, repeal greyhound rules and regulations.
Yeah, and then like if there's if the franchise holder comes forth and wants to resume dog racing, I think we would have to look at our rules to make sure they are up to date, and we would have to redo them in any event if they decide to redo them. So it just doesn't seem, common sense tells me you don't keep a bunch of rules on there that are old or that you're not racing at all. And if you resume racing, then you can adopt the rules.
Any comment?
Yes, sir. Just briefly, and thank y'all very much. Steve Lancaster, attorney for Southland. Byron's right. We don't have any current plans to resume racing. However, we have retained our franchise and continue to pay our franchise fee. And the one aspect of that that we use is it allows us to simulcast. And we believe that we've got statutory authority for both maintaining the franchise and conducting simulcasting. So the loss of these rules would not hurt what we were trying to do. I guess I'd like confirmation that y'all agree. But we definitely want to be accommodating, and there's a lot of work that goes with codifying these rules, and we certainly don't have any objection to moving forward as Byron proposes.
Having the casino license wouldn't give you the simulcast.
It's a little it's much cleaner.
Probably does, it is much cleaner. With them retaining the franchise.
So they still have a license, and so that you have a license without rules.
We have a license with us we have a franchise, and we maintain that.
Franchises conduct dog racing, it's one of their powers.
And those statutes remain in place.
I think in the franchise for 10 years.
Ours is perpetual unless we take some steps. But the rest of them have.
Got 10 years.
10 years on the casino license for all the
Okay.
licenses, but for the horse racing and greyhound racing, the existing franchises are perpetual unless you take certain action.
Big tracks, how many tracks are running
I believe it's maybe just one.
in the US?
Yes. West Virginia.
West Virginia.
It's only one I know.
So most of our simulcasting horses.
Any other comments by the commissioners?
I think Commissioner East made a motion to, second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner East, second by Commissioner Anthony. All in favor of repealing the greyhound rules and regulations, say aye. Any opposed?
Just to make sure that I assume there's nobody here who wants to speak for or against this rule in the audience. Am I correct?
Thank you, Byron.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank y'all very much.
thank you, Steve. All right, let's get back up here. Consideration approval upon racing license.
Yes, and just to distinguish the topic, there are two things that Oklahoma and South have. We have a franchise that's granted to be a horse racing or greyhound racing operator. And that's separate from a license which y'all grant each year. So the franchise is perpetual under the statute. But each year you have to grant us a license to actually conduct a horse racing meet. We presented to you the dates for that each year. Y'all have approved the dates for this upcoming racing season. So the next thing that we have to have is your approval of our license to actually race. So that's what we asked.
It's pretty straightforward. You want to make a motion for approval of on racing license?
Make a motion.
Motion
For the race lot.
by Commissioner Landers,
Second motion.
seconded by Commissioner East. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you. Without that, it wouldn't matter about these rules.
All right, skip, consideration approval 24-25 racing officials.
Yes, you should have, before you our proposed racing, officials for, the upcoming racing season. The changes, and I can just note them to you, the state's coordinator, Michael, Pittinger, I may not pronounce that right, was the paddock judge last year. The proposed paddock judge, Stephen Moyer was the state's coordinator last year, and he will still help with states. The placing judge, Lori Whittick, is returning this year after taking off last year. Then the Outriders, Ryan Griffith, he's morning outrider during training hours. He helped out last year, starting in April, and he'll be here from early November through closing day. Gross Hecker, the morning outrider during training hours, worked previously at Canterbury Park and Cabot Bay Downs. Stable security, Gavin Hodges, he worked in the stable security last year, assisted James Ingram. The claims clerk, Alex Stuckey, he comes to us from the Horseshoe, Indianapolis, and replaces Jordan German, who took a full-time position at Louisiana Downs. And the integrity coordinators, Darlene Knight, James Smith, Margaret Dunleavy, and Maria Allen. I may not have pronounced all those correctly. Those are the changes from last year.
So outriders have to be approved. That seems like kind of a.
Well, I would have to go back to the rule to actually see who is required to be approved, but there is a rule that requires the approval by the Commission of Officials, and I'm not sure the extent of that definition. And we may have over disclosed, requested, but
Top secret names.
Any other comments on racing officials from the commission?
Move approval of the officials.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Anthony. Second by Commissioner East. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That shows unanimous. Consideration and approval of the 24-25 wagering menu.
this is another statutory requirement for the commission to approve each year the actual horse racing wagering menu that we propose. This is the same as last year with the following kind of changes. We've added a pick 3 to the, proposed adding a pick 3 to the first race. And on the 11 race car, we moved the pick 5 from race 3 to race 5 and moved the pick 4 from race 5 to race 6. But otherwise, it's the same type of wagering menu proposal with takeout structures as last year. We'll continue the on track show bet bonus with the 10% takeout on it. It's worked well.
Do we have the commissioners on the phone that can hear us, or?
We're having issues.
Issues.
No, Commissioner Hunter is really sharp on these,
I can hear. Can y'all hear me now? Because I've been able to hear you the whole
I
time.
can hear you, Bob.
Okay, thanks.
Commissioner Hunter, go ahead.
No, I just gonna let you know that I could definitely hear you. I had no comments, so.
Okay, all right, thank you. A motion to approve by Commissioner Landers. And second by Commissioner Anthony, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. All right. Consideration approval of Oakland request for refinancing. That's good.
Yes, sir. We've had a long-standing relationship with Bank of America, who has provided financing to Oakland as long as I've been around. And we refinanced that on several occasions and presented that to you. This proposed refinancing would basically move. We had when they bought out John's trust interest in late 2022. There was amount owed to him. This would basically provide financing to pay him off. And then all of the financing of that nature would be with Bank of America. And so there's not, from the Southwestern Enterprises, the holding company for Oaklawn, there's not any material increase in the total amount of debt at the holding company in Oaklawn, virtually the same. And so this would basically just shift the amount that's owed by the holding company to, John, would allow the payoff to him, and then shift that, financing to Bank America. They would retain their lien on substantially all the assets of Oaklawn and, Southwestern Enterprises. The Oaklawn stock is pledged as collateral, for that. If there was a foreclosure or anything, that they would have to come back to you before there'd be any transfer of that stock or anything dealing with the racing or the, casino license. So so this is the proposed refinancing that we would ask approval for.
Thank you, Skip. Any comments from the commissioners? In that case, entertain a motion to approve the Oaklawn request for refinancing.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner East, second by Commissioner Landers, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Skip. Jennifer, thank you. And here, what do you got for us? Consideration approval of licenses.
Yes, sir. Jennifer Rushing, BFA Center Gaming. I have before you PT Services Delaware LLC, doing business as Playtech. They are Southland's platforms for sports betting. Southland's game-wise vendor is partnering up with Playtech so that they have a seamless stream between their retail book and their mobile sports betting app.
Is this anything new?
This is a
I mean, it's a new concept.
no.
It's just a different-
Just a different vendor.
different vendor.
For them, they had IGT on their retail side, and this vendor will make it where they can have the same vendor for both the retail side and the mobile side.
Meet your approval?
Yes.
Okay. Questions from the commissioners? PT Services? Not, I entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the license for PT service.
Motion by Commissioner East. Second by Commissioner Anthony, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Let's move on, consideration approval of games.
There's a long list here today. Some new, some old, some updated versions, for your approval today. And we are asking all of these are go through our review. I have 30+ employees that look at these before they're ever put in place on the.
So y'all looked at them.
Yes.
That's what you
When
guys do
when
for
we
that?
utilize them, just because they're on this list doesn't necessarily mean that they will get purchased by one of our.
We certainly take your,
Gives them the opportunity.
we certainly take your,
Look, I'm sure they are RTVs.
both with the,
Motion for approval of games by Commissioner Landers. Second by Commissioner Anthony, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Do you guys play all these games like on your?
No, but I've been trying to get the state to do a little research and development budget for me. I still haven't said, okay. Well, thank you guys.
all right, thank you, Jennifer.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Cam, any other business? Anybody have anything? Okay, thank everybody for being here. Entertain a motion to.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Anthony, seconded by Commissioner East. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank
you.